In America, we say gastric cancer is common in men in their 60s and 70s who drink and smoke. That's still what we're saying. That's still what we're advertising. Yet, when I was diagnosed, I joined a stomach cancer sisters group on Facebook, and there was at that point 200 of young women, mostly in their 20s, 30s, 40s. I am extremely fortunate that my gastric cancer was found early at stage 1. I actually had the bacteria that is known to cause stomach cancer about 6 years ago, H. pylori. When I suddenly choked on food in May of 2021, I was in a panic, I'm so healthy, what would cause me to choke? So I called my GI doctor. She did the upper endoscopy, and she honestly did not seem concerned. So I was completely shocked the next day when she called me to tell me that it was gastric adenocarcinoma. The night I got diagnosed, I started Googling, treatment centers. I had 3 consultations with 3 separate gastric surgeons. And the first 2 really kind of gave me the standard picture of, well, you're going to need 4 months of chemo, then your entire stomach removed, and then 4 more months of chemo. I think it's 4 out of 5 patients diagnosed with gastric cancer in the US are usually stage 4 at diagnosis. And so, they weren't too familiar with seeing very early stage gastric cancer. And fortunately, my 3rd consult was with Dr. Sam Yoon in New York City, and he is familiar with seeing early stage gastric cancer. So then we proceeded with removing 60% of my stomach and a gastric bypass, which is how they have to kind of reconnect everything. So I had the surgery, and the pathology after the surgery showed that out of the 25 lymph nodes they removed, there was no cancer spread. So surgery was curative for me, thank God. Getting home and trying to get back to normal, that's really, really challenging. I lost weight. I really cried over my appearance a lot because, I felt like I was skin and bones. I was just constantly trying to eat every 2 hours, basically drinking olive oil at some points, just to get as much calories into my body as I could. I still, it's been 14 months since my surgery. I still suffer from what's called dumping syndrome. It makes me very sick. I get nauseous, a fast heart rate, usually extreme fatigue, I have to go lay down. So I take medication, an anti-nausea medication almost daily for that. I try to balance getting back to some sense of normalcy and what my diet was like before, while also not making myself super sick every day. Aside from the diet and weight issues, I've been back in the gym lifting weights and, feeling really, really pretty much back to my state of health prior to cancer. Really, at this point in America, an endoscopy is the only way we're finding out gastric cancer. The type of gastric cancer I had was called signet ring adenocarcinoma, and it is not detected on CT scan very well. Pushed for the endoscopy because that's what saved my life. If you've been diagnosed, make sure you go to a gastric surgical oncologist. Not just a general surgeon, not just a general surgical oncologist. It's very important that you find a gastric surgical oncologist who has done tons of gastrectomies. And by tons, I mean at least 1 or 2 a month, if not more, because, it's not as simple as just cutting and removing the stomach. You want to make sure you get the appropriate number of lymph nodes removed that, where the cancer could have spread, because that is really going to affect your treatment and your outcome. In addition to having genetic mutations, your cancer, the specific biopsy they do, can have biomarkers that lead to targeted treatment for your specific cancer. So, you want to make sure the appropriate biopsies are done and they're being looked at by the appropriate pathologist. which was another reason I wanted to go to a major cancer center. So I knew the pathologist looking at my cells from the cancer is very experienced at looking at those cells day in and day out. So he or she could, say, hey, this is what's going on. This is the kind of treatment that goes along with this type of biomarker and so forth. So it's a lot more than just, going into any cancer center, because this is a rare cancer. You need someone that specializes.